right.
All right, hey guys, we're gonna lay out a stair stringer today. So we did all of our math in the classroom. We have all our unit rise, unit runs, number of rises, and number of runs already calculated. So I'm gonna set this square up with the unit rise on the tongue or the smaller side, and the unit run on the body of the square or the bigger side. It does not have to be set up that way, but we're just gonna use the small part of the square as the unit rise, and the big part of the square is unit run, because our unit run is bigger than our unit rise. So we calculated in there a 7 3/4 inch unit rise and a 10 1/4 inch unit run. So I'm gonna take the square and I'm gonna line it up on the edge of my board here and set my stair gauge on there at 7 3/4. So I'll line that up, put my gauge on there, tighten it down at 7 3/4 and 10 1/4 on this side. So you're not going to line the gauges up on the numbers, you're just going to use the gauges to clamp where they belong. So I got my rise set and my run set. So since I'm using it this way, I'm going to start at the bottom here. 7 3/4, 10 1/4. This would actually be my floor. This would be my first rise. So I got one rise, this is the floor. Then I'm gonna intersect the points. 2 rises, intersect the points. 3 rises, intersect 4th rise. So 1 rise, 2 rise, 3 rise, 4 rises, 1 run, 2 runs, 3 runs. 1 less run than rises, okay? So if I'm gonna have this on here as my floor, let's see if I don't have to take these off. The floor is gonna run right underneath there. So here's the floor. This is my upper construction there. We are using a 2x12 as our tread material. So a 2x12 is 1.5 inches thick. So I have to drop this stringer so that when I add this 2x12 on here, I don't end up with an odd riser height at the bottom and an odd riser height at the top. So to get that 2x12 on there, I could do it 2 ways. One, I could measure up from my floor and mark 1.5 inches, or I could take the tongue of the square, which is 1.5 inches, and put that on there on my floor, on my rise squared, and draw this right across. This would be the drop stringer, full tread thickness, so that this first rise would get shorter, but once I add the 1.5 inches on top of there, I'm back to my 7 3/4 rise. I keep my 7 3/4 rise, and I keep my 7 3/4 rise. What that would look like if I was standing this up, this would be my original floor right there. Once I drop the stringer, the whole stringer will move down to the floor there. Then I would add my treads up on top of it, okay? you would have to do. If we were cutting this out, I would cut along this line, this line, that line, that line, this line, and depending on how my framing is, I would cut down here, and I would cut down here. So I would be left with the shaded portion of this, okay? Hopefully that clears up laying out a stair stringer. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.